You're still watching Morning at NTV with me, Sandra Twinovideo, this 4th of December 2020. It is a Friday. Excited that we're getting into the weekend. Well, yesterday, the Alliance for Campaign Finance Monitoring released its report with shocking details on how aspirants are spending during the campaign. To speak to us about this and so much more, we have Henry Muguzi, who is the coordinator of the Alliance for Campaign Monitoring, and IVAN KYEYUNE, Member of Parliament aspirant for NAKASONGOLA Constituency, who will be sharing with us his experience on the campaign trail and also what he has experienced in regards to these scientific campaigns. A very good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start with Ivan. You are an aspirant. Yeah. What is your experience? We are talking of scientific campaigns. What is your experience currently?
It's challenging when you talk about scientific elections in villages. These are villages where people don't own TV sets, people don't own radio sets. These are villages where the roads are impassable. You reach a point where a particular sub-county, your car cannot go through particular roads. It's been raining like the last 2 months. Then government comes out and says we must access people through scientific elections, scientific campaigns. These are majority of the people in NAKASONGOLA particularly don't even have Facebook. Whenever you try to reach out on a group of people, police is harassing you, like us opposition. The NRM guy is even campaigning at night. They call you, your opponent is meeting a particular group of people, it's campaigning past time. When you try to do the same thing, like for example, you've been campaigning and it's past time, a particular sub-count or a particular town council wants to meet you, the whole day you've been moving along other centers. The moment you step out of your car, police is against you, the opponent is against you. So these are laws that were passed but practically have not been implemented.
Do you feel it is a deliberate move by, like you put it, the opponent to frustrate your campaigns? Or is it because at some point you're not following the SOPs or you're not in line with what the police says?
Let me remind you this. Parliament passed over 80 billions to purchase masks for the people. The entire district of NAKASONGOLA never received any mask. Nobody owns a mask for government in NAKASONGOLA. Now, you're talking about SOPs. People didn't receive masks, and you are telling them to respect the SOPs. Do you expect us to buy the masks for the people? If government didn't provide to them, we must access the people. The people don't have the masks, and the people are excited to listen to what we are telling them. People have suffered from various problems. They want to hear solutions from us. Now government comes and blocks us to meet the people. If government had provided the masks, then we would be having no issues with meeting people with their masks. But they didn't provide the masks, and we must meet the people. Whether you like it or not, this is a campaign period. We must reach out to the people. Government always promises things and never delivers. It's very strange. Where villages that don't have good roads, on election day, the polling materials will reach there. Villages that don't have hospitals, the polling materials will reach there. Villages that don't have water, on polling day, people will have the polling materials.
Well, Ivan, I'll get back to you in a bit. I want to turn over to you, Henry Muguzi, who's the coordinator of the Alliance for Campaign Monitoring. These are shocking results, you know. What sort of monitoring structure did you use to come up with such conclusions?
Thank you very much. So by our nature and structure, we leverage the presence of 147 young men and women on the ground in 29 districts of Uganda. And these districts are selected purposively from all the sub-regions of the country. So I can tell you that we are present in every sub-region. So we have been tracking and monitoring the behavior of these aspiring candidates from July 2019. And so we monitor and document, monitor, verify, and document spending. And so that's what we do. So when this data is collected, verified, and triangulated, then they submit it they enter it into a system, an online system. So it comes to us, and then we get to analyze it.
What are some of the other discoveries that maybe
Right.
we did not capture clearly?
So so the study comes out with quite interesting things. First of all, we discover that the candidates, but also political parties, are becoming much more clever in concealing spending. And therefore, it is not as easy as it were in the previous election for us to monitor and track every spending. So what we can put our hands on are just the bare minimums that we can see. Number two is that there is a sense in which most of the private candidates get to finance elections aspirants. Most of the aspirants are financing their campaign activities through private means. And one of the things there, because that is then shocking, because they get savings, then they borrow, then they get... So we need to find a way of getting private money out of politics, because this is the cause of the political corruption we suffer with. Number three, the lack of women. In those 29 districts, we monitored the 167 aspiring candidates. The women were just 55 out of the 167. So women are being locked out of politics. And when we speak to them, the major barrier is lack of access to campaign money. The other thing we noted was that there's variation in spending by region. The aspiring candidates in Western Uganda and Central tend to invest their money in physical things, such as opening up of community feeder roads, extending electricity and water supply lines.
Even before they're elected into these
this is aspiring.
Oh,
this is
wow.
aspiring. So this is what they're investing in physical goods, tangible ones. But in Eastern Uganda and Northern Uganda, they're investing in soft ones, such as providing school fees, payment of medical bills, contributing to funeral expenses. You get to see that the others are...
So
the investment is going into
short,
soft
the
things.
entire election period has become extremely monetized.
So the election, the entire aspiring period, the pre-campaign period has been so monetized, and it raises alarms, because it points to what we are going to see as a very expensive campaign. Never mind, we are conducting it under SOPs, and it is hybrid, like the Electoral Commission has prescribed. It is likely to be much more expensive than it would have been when we had open rallies. Because remember, by December 2019, our monitors on the ground were already reporting an intensification of spending. This was unprecedented because it started too early.
All right. Well, Ivan Kyeyune, I want to pick your thoughts on what he said on why you think aspirants are now spending a lot, yet it is the role of the government to do that. We'll be back with that particular question. Let us now turn to Stephen Mbide, that is already standing by to give us an update in regards to traffic. Over to you, Stephen Mbide. Very good morning. Where are you, and what is happening where you are?
Here at the Chibuye along the Entebbe Road, just to give you the traffic situation along this road and the areas around this place. But it's a misty condition here in the skies for you who is just coming towards the city. I've seen also from the weather update that there is some expectations of some rain, so you may also come with that raincoat or jacket that will be keeping you warm. But I want to center here at the Chibuye to show you the challenges that people go through crossing this road. There is a person with a disability trying to cross the road from this side of Narukolongo Chibuye, connecting toward that side of Machindi, and he's also having some difficulty there. But also not him alone, but there are so many people, the young children, the women, the men, and other persons trying to cross this road. I think they need to be given a zebra crossing or any flyover that can help them to cross from either the Machindi side and that side of Zambia, crossing towards this side of Narukolongo, Chibuye, and also joining that side of Natete. This particular place, many people have been knocked from here, especially the school children during the school times, but now at least something has to be done, because many people keep here for something like more than 5 minutes waiting for these people who are coming from Entebbe Road, because the people coming from Entebbe Road usually have spent a lot of time in the traffic jam all the way from Namaswa and Najanankumbi. They tend not to wait for these pedestrians to cross this road joining the city direction. But away from that, if you know you're still coming from Entebbe Road, just know that until you cross this roundabout of Chibuye, there's a lot of traffic congestion coming from that direction of Namaswa, Zana, and Najanankumbi, heading towards the city direction. But if you are able to cross this roundabout, I've been coming from the city direction, I saw less congestion at the roundabout of the former clock tower there as you move from Katwe side, joining the city direction. And for you coming from the city direction, joining Entebbe Road, is all smooth, clear way as you drive from Kampa Road, joining clock tower, or the former clock tower, and Chibuye here as you proceed towards Najanankumbi. For you coming from that direction of Machindye, it's just a little wait at the police station, that is Chibuye Police Division, connecting towards this roundabout, and the rest of the road heading you towards the city center or Natete, you'll also be losing less time. This is what I can tell you from this side of the city. I'll be coming back later on with real people, real situations, and your views on the ground. Steven in Pepe Switch Uga, I'm out for now, taking me back to studios.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen Mbide, with the latest with a traffic update. Well, getting back into our conversation this morning, we're wondering, will this election period be the most expensive Uganda has ever seen? And I want to right away get back to you, Ivan Kyeyune. Yeah. Why are aspirants, providing social services? And first of it all, have you provided any social services to people in Nakasongola?
Well, like my colleague just hinted a very serious point. Government does not exist to the communities. It only comes when there's elections. All these other years, since we voted in 2016, there are always empty promises. Now when aspirants start coming, these people start developing hope in these people. Like the entire period, someone has not had a borehole. Borehole are not functioning. Then a candidate starts coming to the community. Those people expect an aspirant candidate to now do the repair. When it comes to the poor roads, they're always asking you as a candidate, why do we have these roads? Because you are trying to persuade the candidates, the voters. You start doing work for the government. The only time where government is visible is when police is harassing opposition, is when policing is beating people. When it comes to social services, government does not exist anywhere. There are so many villages in Uganda which don't have electricity. And each time the president is now trading on campaigns, he promises the same thing. He comes to a district, promises a hospital in 1996, comes in 2001, promises the same thing, 2016, promises the same thing. Each time candidates now come trying to convince people, they start reminding you the same thing, that President Museveni probably must have lied to the population. So the whole challenge is about, one, government lying and not fulfilling the promises. Two, poverty. The entire population is redundant. Each time they see a candidate coming to them, that's when they think that is the day they are going to take soda. That is when they're going to have 2,000. There are these politicians that have actually distorted the whole system. They go to the bank, get change, 1,000, 1,000, start giving out to people. People try to forget that the 1,000 you're taking is the medicine you will miss, is the good road you will miss, is the good education system you will miss, is the good health care you will miss. And these people understand the way you can manipulate a poor person is those small things, the soda, the 2,000 shilling note, the empty promises. There are people who are actually excited with just a promise. Someone comes, tells them, I'm going to construct a hospital. Which candidate can construct a hospital, even when government has failed? Someone comes, promises people, I'm going to construct this road. It is not something easy. The whole system is manipulated. Like you said, this time round, it is going to be very expensive. Remember, from March, people have not been working. People have not earned. People have loans. People have real challenges in feeding homes. People have real challenges in paying the bank loans. People don't have work. A politician just lands in a community. These are people who think that now, the house that I didn't complete, at least I'll get some iron sheets from this one. At least I'll have some cement from this one. And there are those that actually think every time a candidate comes, the solution is going to be solved. We receive calls where someone even says, I am stuck in Chirudu, there's a bill that I need to cover, there's this, I'm supposed to transport a dead body back to the village.
Have you had these people call you? Have you also experienced that where people call you and say, I need this to give you my vote?
Very many calls. Someone even puts a condition on your vote. Before even you start addressing the community, someone tells you, buy us soda, the vote is yours. As much as the leaders have been frauds to the community, even the communities are frauds. Community comes, excites you, cheers you, tells you, if you do this for us, we are going to vote for you. If you do this, if you give us a borehole, if you construct this road, and you end up actually doing it and they don't even vote for you. Me personally, I receive calls. Someone tells you, like this morning, my voter has lost a father at Chirudu. They want 250,000 to transport the body back to the village. He's stuck. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the money. And he has hope in you. And it's not the person only calling you. Several others are calling with different problems. Someone tells you, my child has sickle cell. It is now 2 months. He has not had a single tablet. That mother is struggling to feed the child and actually is struggling even to buy the medicine. Another one calls you, telling you, this storm, the rain that came yesterday, the whole roof is down. There are so many problems coming from those people there. And government is not there on ground. Government is not there. I give a case in point. Lake Choga, Nakasongola is bordered with Lake Choga. The other side is Lango, then the side is Busoga. The lake has flooded almost a kilometer into the people's houses, gardens. So many things have been spoiled. I have never seen Red Cross there. I've not seen civil society organizations there. I've not seen Minister for Disaster going there. And people, whenever they see me, they want me to construct tents. They want me to participate in constructing back the houses. I cannot afford.
Well, Henry Muguzi, just to also pick your thoughts on the entire COVID-19 pandemic, do you think it has made the whole monetization of the campaign process worse?
Absolutely.
Do you think it could have been better if the COVID-19 wasn't there?
Yeah.
Or it is business as usual in Uganda?
It is not. Okay. First of all, I empathize with the candidates because they are facing a rough time. Because to come and show up at a time when the government has been absent in the lives of people for many years, then you're going to face it rough. Now, if you look at what is happening on the ground, there is COVID, yes, but I think in the minds of people, COVID has now either gone or is not a serious one, because I'll tell you for a fact that in my village, for example, the churches are now have resumed full throttle. So, you know, the weddings are being conducted full throttle. You know, the funerals as it were before COVID. Now, for these candidates, they need to go to the people. So they have now started going back to churches. Remember, these are churches that have been closed for 4 months, 6 months.
7, actually.
The priests have had salaries. Everything has been stalling. They are facing this rough because they have now to provide and bridge that deficit. Now, when it comes to whether COVID has made this more expensive or not, you see, when you say that election campaigns are going to be on media platforms, and as we saw, I don't know about this media organization, but other media organizations in the wake of COVID, of that pronouncement, went and revised their rate cards. So the candidates are paying more to appear on the media. But you see, you don't appear once to make an impact. You have to appear on this TV as many as 3 times a week in order for you to make an impact. That's going to be expensive. The radios are being very expensive. Now listen, the door-to-door, they are getting these young men and women campaign agents to move door-to-door. But you see, door-to-door, you move into a home that has been financially shattered, battered, and tattered by COVID. They have problems. They need money. They need income. You cannot leave this home having requested for a vote without leaving their money. So you're going to leave money in every household. Plus also, you know, the agents you are sending are also pocketing some of it. And some of it, therefore, is staying in their pockets and you're losing it. And therefore, for you, the candidate who is at the end of providing, You move into this campaign with 500 million. After 1 month now, we have completed 1 month of campaigning. It is all gone. Now you have to go back and fork out another 500 million to keep running. Remember, you also have election day where you have to facilitate your polling agents to make sure they protect your ballot and so on. And therefore, it's quite expensive. The roads, because of the rain, most of the feeder roads have been damaged. For you to move from one sub-county to the next, the means you're going to have to use, you see, it's quite expensive. And of course, also the presidential candidates who are having it rough because they're being diverted into roads that have been broken down, collapsed. And so this thing here, the campaigns is likely to cost them more. But when it costs them more, then we suffer as citizens because you see, they have spent more money. Then when they get into these seats, after we have elected for them, they are going to pay much more attention to recouping what they invested other than representing us. And see, at the end of the day, it is me, the voter, who suffers. And therefore, these are the things that we as Ugandans have to rethink. Of course, we understand that people have problems, they need this money, but please let us not press too much demands on these as candidates, because we are making their life a living hell. And we are making it difficult for them to account to us.
Well, also you who's watching us this morning, you can send us your thoughts on social media platforms, NTV Uganda on Facebook and NTV Uganda on Twitter. We are wondering this morning, is this likely to be the most expensive election that we've ever witnessed in our country? But you mentioned already some of the impacts of actually pushing our aspirants to the core, you know, to the hardest point. What is the impact of doing that in the long run? Because say, Ivan, you get into position in this, you become the member of parliament for NAKASONGOLA, and here you are, you spent about 200 million to get into that place. How is this likely to impact the service delivery?
First of all, Ivan cannot afford the 200 million example you have given. But I've had candidates that win an election having spent 600 millions. By the time,
billion.
Yeah, and $1 billion, and you wonder, how is he going to deliver when he's actually with a deficit of $1 billion shillings? But when you look at how we are handling these issues, each time a candidate comes with money in a campaign, he's a fraudster. If you're going to work for the people, I assume you insist on telling the people the truth. It is not a candidate that's supposed to make a road. It's not a candidate that's supposed to build a hospital. I wish media and all other stakeholders can come out and teach the population. And I really blame this on government. Poverty in Uganda has been a deliberate move by government. You reach out in a whole sub-county when there is no single economic activity that benefits those people. People wake up, and when it's time for the dry season, people wake up at 7, sit, start boozing, cheap local blue. It goes as a sequence. Waking up, taking blue, sleeping. Waking up, taking the whole entire dry season, no productivity. And when it comes, the poverty builds. People start losing hope. Ugandans have lost hope. That's why when you see Kyagulanyi moving in centers, people are just like it's a magnet. People are coming to Kyagulanyi because they think things are going to change. You look at a family, 7 youth, people above 20 years, they are not working. It's a father who is actually in his 60s, who has started actually falling sick, diabetes, ulcers, is taking care of other 9 mature people in a family. They just wake up, look, wait for beans and posho from a father who actually is not having also a job. And it is across Uganda. This is a deliberate move to make everyone poor, such that they start now looking at politicians as gods, politicians as solutions. When you look at villages, like he has given an example, you want to access a sub-county in the shortest route. That shortest route is so broken down. You start now moving through 3 sub-counties to come and access a sub-county. You have a fuel loan. People mortgage property to petrol stations so that each time is getting fuel to access people. These agents need money. If government actually made it an issue to give economic activities in communities, people would not be begging politicians. Now, if I come to...
But also, Ivan, let me ask you, you know, the position that you're currently standing for, someone is currently occupying
Yes.
it. And this is the person that is supposed to represent the government.
Yes.
At this point, we should be talking about how do we ensure that we hold this person accountable. You're getting into this position, but how do we ensure we hold you accountable to ensure that you deliver, you know?
Let me give you the most recent example. The budget for masks was issued. Money was given out. It's only Wachiso, maybe, and Kampala that received masks. When you even come out and ask those leaders what happened to the masks, they cannot explain. Even when I've seen several times when the Minister of Finance is being grilled to give answers on the money that is being issued and the services don't reach out the people, he does not know. It is the corruption that has swindled the money. They are intended services that are supposed to be done, and the money is there, but the priority of government, it is the priority of government.
The money is not there, it has been stolen.
Yes.
All right, as we conclude this conversation this morning, I think three things stand out. The government has a role to play in regards to making this a very expensive election. The aspirants do have a role to play as well, and also the citizens, because they're the ones putting the pressure on the aspirants. Yeah. What, from both of you, what should we now ideally be doing? Because the moment we push our aspirants to the hardest point, it is us who will suffer in the long run, because they'll get into these positions and they will try to regain the money they lost, you know. What should we be looking at? What are some of the solutions that we should put on the table as we move forward? Starting with you, Henry.
Yeah, I think the solution is simple. It's also in the hands of the voters. You see, everything has gone wrong. We have had systems break down, because the whole thing we're talking about of people not working, it's the whole government system that has broken down over so many years, because you don't seem to see leaders at village level that would encourage these young people to go and work. This never used to be the case when there was leadership. So you get to see that this situation has been going on for so long. So for you, as for me, for us as voters, the first thing has to happen, first thing we have to do is to look around those who are contesting. Who has a semblance of ideas and looks like they will not go out there and shortchange us. Vote for those. Don't vote money. Because why would I give you money to vote to go and serve you? Don't you see already that is already an indicator that there's something wrong? Number two, I think these who have been in office, we need to tell them that, you see, the reason we are not going to vote for you back is that you have not served us well here. But if we are going to use them contributing and providing services to us in terms of spending as a parameter of deciding who will vote back or not, that won't happen. Number three, I think to government. He talks about the money is not the money to do this, money to do that. That money has been stolen. I think as we get into the next term of office, it's important to get to do something about the corruption that has plagued and paralyzed this country, so that people can have services. People cannot have services when there is no money to provide for those services. The money has been stolen. The thieves have not been punished. They continue to bask and swim in a sea of luxury and leisure. So these are some of the things we have to think about. Number three, I think we need to have love. One of the presidential candidates speaks about love. We need to have love. So I think those are some of the things.
Yeah.
Well, over to you, Ivan. What briefly? What do you think we should do?
I need to be very straightforward and very honest. The only solution we can have as Ugandans is to change government. These NRM MPs, the ones in this parliament, the 9th parliament, received money for Tojikwatako. Those billions could have done a very good job in healthcare. Could have done a very good job in the feeder roads, could have done a very good job in the education system, and even creation of employment. That money was used to bribe MPs for NRM flag bearers. How I wish all Ugandans can sit and vote out every NRM candidate. They are the only problem we are having.
We are talking 100 million plus that bribed them.
I'm telling you, billions and billions could have done a very wonderful job in job creation. Ugandans, I am kindly requesting you,
for us to find the solution to the problems
only
that we are
solution,
having.
every NRM flag bearer should be voted out. Now, let me tell you, this gentleman who has done research, you have seen how roads are looking in the entire Uganda because of the wet season we are going through. These very people went in parliament and supported a motion to go and construct Congo roads.
All right, thank
Are
you
they
so
really
much.
connected to Uganda?
Thank you so much, Ivan Kyeyune, who is a Member of Parliament aspirant for NAKASONGOLA constituency, joining us on Morning at NTV to speak to us about this likely to turn out as the most expensive election. And thank you to Henry Muguzi, who's the coordinator of the Alliance for Campaign Monitoring, for sharing with us some of your discoveries in this process. And thank you as well for joining us. Do continue sending us your thoughts on why you think this is likely to be the most expensive election and what impact it will have on Uganda as a country. Morning at NTV will return.